The Florida Panthers find a way to tie the series at 2 after being down 2-1. The Florida Panthers score a goal late in the third period and then win this one in overtime to tie this series at 2. On this episode, live edition of the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast, I bring in Spanish play-by-play voice Octavio Sequera to talk about this 3-2 overtime win against the Washington Capitals, where the Florida Panthers now have home ice back. Let's do this, guys.
Your Locked On Panthers, your daily podcast on the Florida Panthers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
And welcome to this Tuesday, May 10th edition of the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. Thank you for making the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast your first listen of the day. My name is Armando Velez. I'm from PantherParkway.com. You can follow me on Twitter at Monoman12. Follow the show account on Twitter at LO_FLA Panthers. And thank you for making the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast your first listen of the day. Don't forget to also follow the national show, Locked On NHL, and the Crosscheck NHL show with Andrew Berkshire and Mary Clark. We'll be covering all the postseason activities around the National Hockey League. Well, Cats fans, what a ride. What a ride that was. The Florida Panthers knew that today's game against the Washington Capitals was a must-win situation for the Cats, and they found a way to pull off a win where all of us, whether it's broadcasters, people who cover this team like myself, we're all in kind of a glass case of emotion going towards the latter part of the game. But the Florida Panthers find a way to pull it off, and thankfully they do, and they have home ice advantage back. That is the most important thing in all of this for the Cats. And here to talk about this 3-2 win over the Washington Capitals. He is now his second time on the show. It is Spanish play-by-play voice Octavio Sequera. Octavio, ¿cómo te sientes? How are you feeling?
¡Gol! ¡Golazo! ¡Tómalo! I think that answers your questions, my man. I think that answers that question. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say, I lost my voice. I apologize. I lost my voice. With that, let's go home, baby. Hey, Goldie, all the best. But I got to tell you, it's been nerve-wracking. It's been nerve-wracking. I feel happy. Of course, I'm happy. I mean, optimistic. We're going back home. With the series is tied. I mean, it's back to 0. Best out of 3. I mean, it's not the best scenario, but it's the best that we can get now. Considering that, yes, we're happy, but we haven't been playing the way that we should. I mean, that's something else. But I'm happy. I think, there's always that win or that loss that breaks your heart. I think this could be this turnaround. This could be the game, honestly. We've been on the other side of the equation. Game 5, 2016 against the Islanders, that overtime in Florida. I want to avoid that. I don't want to bring those memories back. But we've been on the other side of that equation, and now we're so happy to be here. 2-2, best now for the next 3 games. Whoever wins 2, it's going to go to the second round. And I think the Panthers, they're finding their mojo. They're finding their mojo back. They're getting their grip back on the series. And, let's talk about it, man, because there's a lot of talk.
And Andrew Burnett, at the beginning of this series, every single time the Florida Panthers would wrap up a game, he would talk about some of the nervousness that the Panthers would be having going into these games. I mean, though there is still some experience on this team that has been to Stanley Cup Finals, one who have won in Patrick Hornquist, there's still a little bit of that inexperience for the Panthers. And, man, what a way to get some of that experience in these few games. And it took a little bit to get their footing a little bit. And come out flat in game 1, lose that third period lead. of course, defend home ice in game 2. Look, strike first, throw out the first punch in game 3, and then the wheels blow off of the Panthers. And then this one, possession for the Panthers, just 32 shots to 16 in this game for the Panthers. And shot attempts, look at this, 71 to 36 in favor of the Panthers, just pure domination. And it came to the line shakeups for the Panthers too. I mean, when you're down in a series, going on the road, trying to find some type of momentum. I mean, let's read some of the lines for people who might have missed this game. I mean, Marchment, Barkov, Giroux to start, Hubie, Bennett, Carter Hagee, Duclair, Lundell, Sam Reinhart, and then the fourth line stays the same. And then the deep pairings got mixed with Schrott, Ekblad, Forsling and Wenger were together after some of the mistakes that Wenger had earlier, which Wenger is now on his natural side on the defense, and Montour, Gudas, and all that. So it looked to work. The Florida Panthers, they of course, with the experience that, or lack thereof, with Andrew Brunette, he had to find a way. And of course, towards the end, with 3 minutes left, 3:09 to be exact, he took a risk with pulling Bobrovsky out, pulling the 6-on-5, and that the Panthers, those 2 goals in the regulation, none of them were 5-on-5. There was a 4-on-4, and then that 6-on-5 one. So they were generating a lot of their chances 5-on-5. Don't get me wrong. I mean, let's look at the 5-on-5 numbers possession wise for the Panthers. I mean, 47 shot attempts to Washington's 26. They were generating their chances, just not getting it through. And Andrew Brunette, bold as can be, mixes up the lines. Pull Sergei Bobrovsky. Rhino gets his first postseason goal ever. I gotta give a round of applause to Andrew Brunette on a fabulous coaching job that he did today. He's heard the noise.
I agree, definitely. And if you want to add to those lists of first, it's the first time Berhigi scores a goal in an overtime of a playoff game, or as we call him in Spanish, Berhigi. Yes, sir. No, I mean, I've been listening to you, and then I was just like picturing parts of the game, and it's like, well, Bobrovsky brought a flashback of Roberto Longo because he was locked in. I mean, if you think about that second goal from Kuznetsov, what else could he do? I mean, there was nothing for him that he could have done in that second goal. I mean, he went out, he splits, he even rose his legs to try to, because Kuznetsov had no angle in that shot. And that was insane. So the Panthers, the possession game was there. It kind of reminds me of this analogy with soccer. They were doing a lot with Barcelona, the tiki-taka, because Barcelona always possesses the ball, like pass the ball, pass the ball, pass the ball. They were like passing the puck, take the puck, pass the puck, take the puck, pass the puck. But the puck wasn't getting into the net. I do agree with you when you were saying about a little bit of the nerves. I'm sorry. And the only thing that I'm like really worried about is the transition game, isn't the rush. I don't think that the Panthers are capitalizing that. Oh, there we go. Yeah, and no, listen, and it's true. And it's true because you see a lot of like 3-on-2. Nothing happens on 3-on-2. Then you have, I mean, however, I want to say the first goal, of course, was 2-on-1. Okay, we got it. We got that done. But rather than that, there was a lot of 3-on-2s that nothing happened, nothing paid off, and then losing the puck in the center of the rink was almost death for the Panthers. Almost that could have cost the game. There was one play that I will say, even though Huberdeau now is on the news because he's all-time leader in points in the postseason for the Panthers, but that play from Huberdeau stealing the puck without committing the penalty, stealing that puck there, that was key. For me, that was, okay, this is the wake-up call. This is when the Panthers are going to come. And I was expecting, Armando, 4 goals after that play because I thought that Huberdeau gave it all. Amazing effort, incredible effort, recovering, clean recovery in there. But this one thing that is not clicking, that I'm assuming that's going to be talked during the video, during checking, whatever. But definitely, if I have to pick one MVP, it's Andrew Brunette, honestly. That's my MVP of tonight. I don't want to take anything away from Brunette. I don't want to take anything away from the players, of course. I don't. But Brunette has been, I mean, it's such a power force on the bench. He's the one who's like motivating these players. He's the one who's like there. He's been self-critic of the game, and actually, they're getting the job done because Brunette is igniting them to get the job done. Verhage, of course, 2 goals. Reinhardt, great goal. Bobrovsky, but I tip my hat to Brunette because definitely today was had to do a lot of with the coaching and have the ice time decision where he like, okay, you know what? Let's take a risk because I trust my boys. They're gonna get the job done, and actually they did. I lost you. Come on. No, I can hear. It's okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Right. So, and going back to Jonathan Huberdeau and with the audio cut out and so I couldn't hear the last part of your statement. But
I was just saying. I'm sorry.
With Jonathan, let's go back to you were talking about Jonathan Huberdeau on that back check to Schultz. It was Schultz because both times, 2 times. The Washington Capitals came out of the penalty box. Had grade A opportunities on Sergei Bobrovsky. The first time what you're talking about is Jonathan Huberdeau just on a strip of Schultz, and then Sergei Bobrovsky coming out with a amazing left pad save on I think it was Feravari. Second period, and it's just the chances that Washington could have had as well to probably break this open on just those little itty bitty opportunities, because when you have 16 shots on goal for the Washington Capitals, we know that they could capitalize. I mean, this is an experienced team that has won a Stanley Cup. I mean, just the fact that they were able to hold them to 16 shots, we got to give credit to the defense for the Panthers.
Yeah, and that's the credit that I wanted to bring back to Brunette, because Brunette is the one that, like, you know what, I'm going to stick with my guys. I remember you actually on Twitter were like very on top of the ball, as we're saying in baseball. We were like on top of everything because you were like expecting, and there were people who were expecting changes in the lineups, and he goes like, yeah, we considered everything, but we are going to go with what we have. I trust my guys, and listen, just taking Bobrovsky with more than 3 minutes in the game, with everything on the line, that just tells you how much he trusts in the defense, and also in the mental strength of the team to get the job done. I mean, it sounds repetitive, but it's like that. It's very simple. It's not a cliche. Brunette sent the message, they got the message, and they get it at the end. Like I said, I don't want to take anything away from Verhage. I don't. I mean, the sky's the limit right now. There's absolutely for him. I don't think there should be any more pressure or nerves or whatever. But definitely, I gotta tell you that this coaching from the Panthers, it's something that it's needed for this group. They need, because they know what they have to do. I mean, you're not gonna tell Claude Giroux what is he gonna have to do in a playoff game. You're not going to tell that to Hornquist. You're not going to tell that to all these veterans. You're not going to tell that to Bobrovsky. You're not. But they need these type of coaches like, hey, we are the President Trophy winners. We came back more than 25 times when we were down by 2 goals. We came back. We did this. A little reminder. And let me tell you something now. I think the Panthers this series is 2-2 with a horrible power play, and also with an Alexander Barkov that hasn't been the Barkov of the regular season, and that's only going to get better. So I will say that definitely we should be very optimistic right now.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk more about that on the other side of the break. We're going to talk more about the power play. what's going on with it, some of the differences that they've been doing in this game versus the other. So we're going to talk more about that on the other side of the break. But first, we're going to tell you all about BetOnline. And our partners at BetOnline continue to be the number one source for all your sports betting needs and sports info. Find all the latest odds, news, and sports development, including this year's basketball playoffs, Stanley Cup playoffs, Major League Baseball scores, fights, and even next season's NLF futures. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering information, from live betting to playoffs, esports, and more. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. BetOnline, where the game starts. Continuing on this live edition of the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast after this Game 4 post-game edition. I'm Armando Velez. I got Spanish play-by-play voice Octavio Sequera here on this edition of the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast. And Octavio, I got to say that me and Alex Baumgartner yesterday on the show were talking about
man, all the best to Alex. A great guy, Alex.
Yeah, he's great. We were talking about how the Panthers were trying to possibly put some smoke screens out there as far as their lines and practices. And then all of a sudden, Andrew Burnett throws all of this back right then and there. I mean, how much do you think Peter Laviolette on the other side was thrown off by this, and then it just messed with his game plan? How much do you think?
That's a great point. Great point, because that's the other side of the coaching part that we don't notice. Okay, not just his trusting these guys, not just his being consistent, but also, okay, let me just make the other coach go crazy and like overthrow whatever plan he had, whatever it is that he was thinking. Because the thing is, with this team, when you have a team that scored 337 goals, and then they come from game 2 scoring 5 times, but then game 3, they're like shut down for some reason, Peter Laviolette is like, we got him. This is it. I mean, there's absolutely nothing they can do. Now we found the formula. We got their number. And then they not only win the game in overtime, of course, but it's like you were saying, 32 shots. That's twice as the Capitals, which is something that remarkably important, because it shows that the Panthers came back to the offensive consistency that they have shown in the regular season. And I know that people say, well, regular season doesn't matter. Yeah, okay, it's fine. But if you go back to what it was working, and at the same time, you surprise the other coach and like overthrow whatever the plan was, I think that has a huge merit. So I will say that's a great point from what you were saying. I definitely agree. And it's coming now to, okay, now Washington is going to come to the row. Again, is going to go to face, I don't know, Armando, you might tell me, 19,000 people in Florida, probably.
Around there.
Yeah, with vuvuzelas and all those. I mean, the environment's going to be the best. I wish I could be. I was there. But I can tell you, I know that they have the experience. I know that they won the Cup in 2018. But the Panthers got the momentum back. And I will expect the Barkov, the worst version of Alexander Barkov was this. I mean, this past 4 games. I will say that. I think the best of Barkov is going to show now, and it's bad news for the Capitals, because I know, and we were hearing Barkov and Brunette and all the Panthers players talking. They're still not satisfied by the way they're playing, especially that top line. Even though, like I said, Huberdeau now 19 points in the postseason, all-time leader in franchise history. It's fine, it's perfect, but they haven't clicked the way they want to, and that's coming. I believe that's coming, because what else? I mean, if you don't get momentum back after this game, I don't know what it's gonna do. I have no idea.
I'm in full agreement, and this is and the power play unit is 0 for 13, and it's still 2-2 for the series.
I agree, but also it's like you said. So it was a 5-on-3 today. The penalty killing has been remarkable. The penalty killing was great again. Bobrovsky was amazing. Controlling the puck in the defensive zone was great. I will say is transitioning, and also one thing that I was very curious was, maybe, I'm not saying this is going to happen, because I mean, who am I to say this? But maybe we will see more time on the ice from Anthony Duclair, El Duque. Maybe we will see that. because of that transition problems that the Panthers have shown. Maybe you need that fast guy like Verhage, like Reinhardt. But now Duclair, probably, I wouldn't rule out if they put him in the first line. Honestly, I wouldn't rule out because maybe the Panthers just want to try something different because they already did in game 4, and maybe for game 5 that could be some of the variants that they will show. But the questions are going to be there. They're going to have the morning practice. It's going to be a fun trip back. I'm sure that they have fun coming back home, but definitely it's going to be interesting now. And definitely you have to protect home. Now home ice is more important than ever.
Yep. And Anthony Duclair's minutes were reduced big time tonight. I did see a little bit more aggressiveness from Anthony Duclair in those little bit of time on ice, 9:48. And then he was replaced on that top power play unit by Mason Marchment. From what this is, what I'm looking at on.
But what do you think? But what do you think about Marchment there? I think,
well, not Marchment, Ekblad, excuse me.
Ekblad in the power play. But what do you think about Marchment? Marchment was sometimes, and do you see that was another thing? Oh, man, it's we can talk for 6 hours, but I'm not. I promise I'm gonna be quick. There was this play. I think it was in the oh my god, at the end of the second. No, like the 2:34 left in the second period. Marshman almost committed a penalty, and Brunet brought him aside and was talking to him like, "Hey, calm down." It was like, and people think, no, those things are not important. No, they're important because their emotions are going to play a factor if you don't control them. And that's what Brunet has been saying the whole time. And Marshman now is, like, as we say in Spanish, está graduando. He's like, this is his graduation for a play like Marshman. And believe me, having Brunet on top of him, having the old guard on top of him, it's going to be helpful. And I love what I saw from Brunet talking to Marshman in a best possible way, like coming down and everything. I think that's also it's going to have a positive influence in the rest of the series.
Mm-hmm. I could also imagine why for Mason Marchment because he's going to be a UFA this offseason, trying to get paid. No matter what happens with the Panthers this year, chances are he's going to have a payday, and the Panthers are unlikely able to match whatever is offered. So he's trying his best. But great whenever it comes to coaching, you have to learn how to use a certain terminology to calm those players down.
Yes.
It's not as simple as just, hey, stop it. It's not as simple as that. You have to learn how to just maybe have your hands over their shoulders like this, be like, and just, and just look straight into the eye and just say, relax a little bit. Hey, you're gonna get your hits, you're gonna get your opportunities, and definitely Andrew Burnett is definitely learned over the course of this season, and of course, he even said it in the press conference after. These are situations that we've been in all year. You spoke about how the Florida Panthers have come back over 25 times this season. The exact number of that is 29.
29.
So
yeah, 25 when they actually have to surpass more than 2 goals in the last 25 minutes of the game. So like 5 minutes in the second period and the rest of the third period. So imagine that 29 times. That's exact numbers. And it comes in terms of like comebacks.
Yeah. So just incredible that like it's another come from behind win for this team. And listen, the Panthers, there was a regular season game earlier this season where the Florida Panthers got a big road win in Nashville, where it was a low scoring game. 3-2 is typically your ideal. It's your ideal type of playoff game. Sometimes the goals don't happen until late. Sometimes you're just frustrated because you're getting all these opportunities to the net, and sometimes it just takes that breaking through. And this was a playoff win. It doesn't look pretty early on. It's low scoring. Your goaltender is giving you a chance to win despite not facing a lot of shots. They found a way.
They found a way, and for them it was crucial to find a way to win this game because I know the history is not that big, but they were 0-2 when they're down 3-1 in the series. So now it's 2-2. You play it back home. They're 2-2 historically when they're tied the series 2 games apiece. Do you? I said I didn't want to bring this this flashback to the memory of the Panthers fan, but just to give you an idea how important Game Five is going to be and how important home ice is now. Last time they won Game Four in New York, and it was a heck of a game. Came to Game Five with the momentum. Back then it was a different name. I don't know if I can say the name of the arena in 2016.
BB&T Center.
Oh, you can say that. Okay. No, sometimes I prefer to ask. I prefer to ask. Times sponsorship and stuff like that. So no, and I remember that game went to two overtime, and the Panthers were like caught up into the emotions. Gerard Gallant, who was the coach, and Derek McKenzie was the captain of that team.
Mm-hmm.
2 years after, 2017, yeah, years after that, I remember speaking with McKenzie, one of the interviews, and even with Al Montoya, which was the backup goalie of Roberto Longo, and they said that series was for us to lose or for us to win. It was us. Game two, we won game two, and we thought that we were going to carry the momentum to New York in game three. That didn't happen. But then, of course, and everybody talked about how bad the referees were, which it was true. That non-call on Luongo, no blowing the whistle in game six, and Tavares scoring that second overtime goal. That would never happen. That happened actually in front of our faces. We were calling the game. We were down there. It was like heartbreaking. But my point with this is, and this is what I want to get to a point and maybe get your reaction, Armando, because this is the thing. This is not over at all. Washington is going to come with everything they have, with everything they got to try to steal the game. And it's now the Panthers' responsibility to protect it. And that is why I believe Barkov, Duclair, and maybe Joe Thornton are going to play a role now. Why Thornton? It's like my dark horse. I will say because you need now veterans there to calm these kids down. You need the old guard there. I love what Giroux is doing with Lundell. It's kind of like he's sitting next to him in practice and then talk to him and embraces him. And I love that. I love how Giroux went straight to Reinhardt. I'm not saying that Reinhardt is a rookie, but when they score the game, the chemistry is there. They want to win. But there's also the other side of like, okay, but we have to protect home ice. And definitely, they've been in this situation before. They let that one slip in 2016 against the Islanders. I believe that there should be, I don't know, maybe there will be some film watching of that series just to remind, because Ekblad was in that team, Barkov was in the team, Huberdeau was in that team. So maybe some of that will be playing a role, the conversations into what is going to be leading before game 5. It's going to be important. Like I said, I didn't want to bring that flashback, but I maybe get your reaction from how important the home ice is now.
I don't think they'll necessarily play that moment. They'll maybe like discuss it for like a few minutes, maybe something along those lines. But I think of course, they were asked after the game whether they think momentum is on their side. And we've seen all throughout these playoffs. I mean, we're already going to, out of the 8 series that we're having, I mean, on the top of my head, at least 5 of them are going to game 6s at least. So game 5 is toss-ups for any of these teams. I mean, I think it's Thursday that it's a full slate of game 6s for the whole NHL as a whole league. And a lot of, and also the playoffs, a lot of these games have been blowouts for the most part.
That's true.
I mean, look at Tampa Bay, Toronto in their series. None of their games have been close. Florida, Washington, none of their games have been close neither. I mean, with the exception of game 1 and then blowing the lead late with the Panthers. So it really like, and the Panthers in the first 10 minutes, they came out flat. and they talk about the first 10 minutes, how that looks. And then when thinking about that first 10 minutes for the Panthers and how flat they were, it's like, man, it's like, are we going to really go through this again? And then late game situations, I mean, the first period has always been their slower period all throughout the season. Then their third period has been their money period.
Period,
yeah, definitely. But we're going to discuss more about that, the Panthers returning home, and looking at the rest of the landscape all throughout the National Hockey League. On the other side of the break, I'm Armando Velez. I got Spanish play-by-play voice, Octavio Sequera. So keep it right here on Lock On Panthers. Third and final segment here on the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast. I'm Armando Velez. I got Octavio Sequera, Spanish play-by-play voice. And Octavio, man, we spoke a little bit about it for Game 5 with the Panthers. Let me check. Game 5 is a 7:30 puck drop. ESPN2, I believe. Double checking this right now. Yep, 7:30 puck drop.
7:30 ESPN2.
So it's, man, the stat after Game 3 that I was listening a little bit to my counterpart, Dan Homey of Locked On Capitals. He was talking about how the team that wins Game 3 wins the series 68% of the time.
68%, yeah.
So now it's all tied up, all knotted up. They're back. They're back at home, a place that they've only lost 7 times in the regular season. And man, what an opportunity that the Florida Panthers have in front of them. And I think about some of the trials and tribulations that the Panthers went through. I mean, the goal that the Washington Capitals scored on the other end to make it 2-1, Bennett was hit up high, and that wasn't called. And you could expect the fine possibly on the other side for Washington, but Washington, big hit, and that led to a goal. And I'm just, at that time I was thinking, man, it just might not be their night, and just man, they found a way to do it. And now that confidence with your home crowd behind you. I know Washington is the best road team in the NHL this season, but man, what a difference to have the crowd at FLA Live Arena on Wednesday night, cheering on this team, and then just, man, what? And I think, honestly, Octavio, they talked about nerves. I think those nerves are gone.
Oh yeah, no, I expect it. I expect that for sure. I said it a little bit before, and I said, listen, I know that this Washington team, besides being the best road team in the NHL, I know they won the Stanley Cup in the road in 2018, and there was a lot of, like, the atmosphere back in Vegas in 2018 was incredible, and I know they're used to this. I know that. That's a given. But now you're 2-2. Now it's been 4 years. 4 years since the last time you won the Stanley Cup. And you have a very, very hungry team that don't want to let any of these fans down. None of the fans, none of the Panthers fans, none of the Gatos fans. I mean, it's an entire fan base. I'm telling you, Armando, you know this better than myself, but in the last decade, I never seen so much support from the fan base as I'm seeing it right now. For this team of the Florida Panthers, the fan base, they actually think that they can win this, and they believe in the team, and they are transmitting that. I had a chance in one of the last games that I did during the regular season to talk to Spanish fans from Argentina, friends from Colombia. They live in Pembroke Pines, in the Pembroke Pines area, and they're like, it's the best team that we can root for because we know that this team is not going to let us down. Of course, Miami Heat is also doing great in the postseason. They actually are one of the favorites. But with the Panthers, it's more like they see the improvement. They think this is the year. They think this is the group of players. And I believe that the players actually, they get that from the fans. I believe that the energy from the crowd, this multi-diverse fan base that the Panthers have, one of the most diverse fan base in the whole league, I believe that that's going to play a factor. Why not? Of course, at the end of the day, they're humans. At the end of the day, they need the crowd. At the end of the day, they feed from the crowd. And like I said, Game 5, wow, in Florida, the environment, the atmosphere, it's going to be rocking. And yes, of course, Washington, all the experience in the world, all the coldness and the ice in their veins that you can say, but they're tied, and they're going to have to go now to the cave with the Panthers, and we'll expect all these players unleash. unleash the potential, because they also have experience. It's like, it's funny when people say, no, well, they're not a playoff team, they don't have experience in playoff. No, we went through that before, and of course they have a lot of playoff experience as well in their roster. So now they have a very loyal fan base, and I believe that was going to play a factor.
And this is my first time saying this publicly on the podcast. Being at games 1 and 2, I noticed one thing about right before puck drop. And I noticed that a lot of people are in their seats right before the Star Spangled Banner is playing. And I just I'm observing, looking around, I'm just saying there's very few empty seats coming into with I mean, this is the President's Trophy winning Florida Panthers, so that's expected. I mean, and I've also watched Heat games as well. I mean, they're alternating days on the calendar, and here's some context with that a little bit. Of course, with being, I've seen empty seats in the lower bowl for the Miami Heat games, but that's because downtown Miami is a harder place to drive than Sunrise. However, I'm going to give credit where credit is due, regardless of the fans. You have put so much. You guys, if you're listening and you have gone to games 1 and 2. I want to give you guys a lot of props for arriving to your seats on time, because that is something that I've seen all throughout this the first 2 games at FLA Live Arena. So kudos to you, Panther fans, on trying to on getting to your seats on time and just being there from start to finish. And that place has been loud. There, I'll be back there for Game 5. So
thank God, at least one of us. Yes, you got to represent us, man. Come on.
Yeah, they got to get you doing Spanish play-by-play voice.
Amen to that.
Come on now. What are we doing here? I mean,
hey, you know what? We were undefeated, man. We were undefeated. All 8 games, we were undefeated. Just need that Spanish vibration there. Come on, bringing us back. No, but listen. All jokes aside, I gotta tell you this. This is the first time that I actually say this about, because I was very disappointed when do you remember Game 6 NBA Finals 2013, right? Everybody, yes. NBA Finals, everybody left. They throw the ropes, and Tim Duncan was like walking all over the ropes, and everybody left. And Chris Bosh said at the time, we need real fans. This is the first time that actually in South Florida I've seen real fans, and it has to do with the Panthers. I have nothing against the Miami Heat fans. I believe they're also real fans. They're very supportive. But when it comes to the Panthers, it's always been like ups and down. But since last year, this is funny. Actually, last year, I was covering for NHL.com in Spanish, writing an article about what it was like, the Florida rivalry, right? I have two guys, one from Argentina, the other guy was from Ecuador, one with the Lightning jersey, the other one with the Panthers jersey, and it was like they were debating as it was soccer, like their passion. No, I'm gonna kill you. No, you don't know. Tú no sabes nada. No, it was incredible, and that has happened with years of suffering, and I've seen now this fan base has been loyal. This fan base knows a lot about the game. They learn about the game. Last time I was in Florida, I took my son with me, and he was skating in the Panthers ice. Then he was doing some hockey drills because he was doing some stuff with some of the coaches. And I saw people just like studying the playoffs and like, well, maybe if we get Pittsburgh in the first round, this is the stats. And it was like they're so into it. They're getting stats. Of course, nowadays we have a lot of more access to information in your phone. You can find everything, but they're committed. And my point with that is that commitment, it's gonna play a role at some point during this series, during this postseason. And I believe Game 5 will be the start of that, because in Game 5, the Panthers, the players, and the fan base know that this is it. We have to win. That's it. Okay, we can lose and try to go and expect a miracle, or go for the high row and the tough row in Washington and try to win there and come back Game 7. But that's not in the mind of everybody, though. No, you don't want to risk that. You want to win at home now, and I believe that's what I'm looking forward to Game 5, because I believe we're going to see the best version of the Panthers in Game 5.
Possible best version of the power play. Possible best version of Alexander Barkov. You said it
Yes.
earlier about those
Yep.
two.
Yep.
We could see that very well unleash in
Unleash.
game five, and who knows, we could be talking about hopefully a 3-2 series lead after Wednesday night at FLA Live Arena. 7:30 puck drop, ESPN2. We will also be doing a live post game after that. But Octavio, I want to thank you so much for coming on this episode of the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast, a live edition of the show. Always grateful to be chatting with you. So
Thank
tell
you.
everybody where they can follow you online.
Thank you so much, Armando. For me, I like I said, I apologize. My voice was like almost disappearing after that goal. I enjoyed the game. I'm sorry. I apologize for my voice, but yes, of course. Thank you. Thank
No
you so
worries.
much for having me here. And yeah, just go to Twitter. You will see me there. Sequera, Sequera, and Tomalo. People say, "Why is that Tomalo?" Easy, easy. I'm gonna explain.
Easy.
Short version. Every time the Panthers score, I told Dennis Potvin this back when we started doing the games. Every time the Panthers score, you'd say, take that. But in this case, it's tomalo. Just saying. It's releasing. It's like empowering. You know what? Because we are the Panthers and you have to take this. Tomalo. Just follow, Octavio Sequera on Twitter. And yes, definitely looking forward to listen more episodes, be in more episodes of the podcast. And why not? Why not? A long playoff run this season, because you know what? It's 2-2. It's 0-0. We're back on track.
Yep. And I don't blame you for your voice being shot the way it is. When Sam Reinhart scored that game tying goal, I scared my cats. And so, it's okay. It's acceptable here to have that and be excited. But to finish off the show, because Octavio Sequera is on the show, got to show this a little bit.
Woo!
Vamos
Vamos gatos.
Vamos Gatos. And hopefully for a game 5 win. So thank you so much, Octavio, for everything.
Thank you.
And if you like what you're hearing, please subscribe to the podcast to be notified every single time the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast jumps into your podcast feed. Don't forget to also subscribe to the Locked On Fantasy Hockey and the Crosscheck NHL show with Andrew Berkshire and Mary Clark will be covering all the postseason activities around the National Hockey League. Thank you for making the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast your first listen of the day. And now make Locked On NHL your second listen. From first-round matchups to each Stanley Cup kiss, Locked On NHL covers the playoffs like no other. Hear the latest news, opinions, and local experts every day, Monday through Friday. It's free and available wherever you get podcasts. So I'm Armando Velez with Octavio Sequera. And you've been listening to Locked On Florida Panthers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We're your team every day.